All right, let's dive into what has to be one of the wildest 24-hour news cycles I've seen in a while. I mean, the headlines were all over the place, totally sound like they're from different universes. But, and this is the interesting part, they're actually way more connected than you might think.
So you see these three things, and you're probably thinking, what on earth is the connection? And yeah, on the surface, it looks like absolutely nothing. But each one of these stories, believe it or not, peels back a layer on our just bizarre modern media world. We're talking about everything from how fame gets turned into a weapon to the fact that apparently not even our pets are safe from the latest health fads.
Okay, first up, let's talk Hollywood law and order. This is where things get really explosive, right at that intersection of celebrity life and the legal system, where private arguments just blow up into a huge public show.
So what's with the $3 million? Well, that is the amount that Will Smith's close friend, a guy named Bilal Salam, is suing Jada Pinkett Smith for. And the reason behind it? It's a pretty shocking allegation to say the least.
And this is where the whole case gets kind of tricky. On one hand, you've got this alleged threat from Jada. If you keep talking, you're going to catch a bullet. But then you look at the legal take on it, and they're pointing out that if-then structure. That makes it what's called a conditional threat, not a straight-up promise of violence. And believe me, that one little distinction means everything when you're in a courtroom.
Yeah, and to put it bluntly, the legal analysis from our source material basically says, I think the lawsuit is BS. The experts are pretty much saying that because of that legal distinction we just talked about, the chances of winning any money here, let alone $3 million, are a real long shot.
And the celebrity legal drama just kept coming. On the very same day, you've got rapper The Game making his own, let's call it a controversial statement. He literally grabs a mic at his 46th birthday party and just shouts this out for everyone to hear.
Okay, so let's shift gears now. We're moving from the courtroom to the campaign trail, and we're going to look at what happens when the super fun, breezy world of pop music smacks right into the pretty intense world of political messaging.
So, the scene is set for a classic culture war showdown, right? You've got the Trump administration dropping a video, and they set it to this super upbeat, massive hit song by Sabrina Carpenter. The only catch, the actual content of the video was, well, it was something the artist wanted nothing to do with. And yeah, Sabrina Carpenter did not hold back. At all. She came out with this incredibly direct, forceful response, making it 100% clear where she stands on the whole thing.
But here's the thing. The White House didn't just let it go. They fired right back. And in a really, really sharp move, they actually used a lyric from one of her own songs, Stupid or Is It Slow, to completely dismiss what she was saying. That is a pointed response.
Now here's a really crucial piece of context for you. This wasn't actually the first time this had happened. They'd used a Taylor Swift song in a similar way before. But in that case, Swift said absolutely nothing. She stayed completely silent, and the video stayed up. So a totally different strategy and a totally different outcome.
All right, so from the politics of pop music, let's now pivot to the politics of health. Our next story is all about how we process medical news, especially when the patient happens to be, one of the most powerful people on the planet.
Perfectly normal. These two little words, right? They were taken from a letter that President Trump's doctor released about his recent MRI. And these two words alone are what kicked off a massive wave of skepticism from doctors and medical experts.
So why all the fuss over two words? Well, it's because radiologists, they just don't really use the phrase perfectly normal to describe the brain of a 79-year-old. It's totally expected that you'd find some normal, age-appropriate stuff in there, like a little bit of plaque. So to call it perfect just didn't sound right to the medical community.
And this chart really gets to the heart of what the experts were saying. A standard radiology report, as you can see, is super detailed and specific, but the letter that came from the White House, it was basically just a simple summary. It was missing all that crucial data and the detailed impressions that doctors would normally expect to see.
And to actually put a number on it, one expert radiologist estimated that, at best, we're talking best-case scenario, only about 1 to 5% of even the healthiest 79-year-olds would be completely plaque-free. So the main takeaway here is that a perfectly normal brain, in this context, is just statistically really, really unlikely.
Okay, get ready for a hard left turn. We're going from a very serious health headline to one that is, well, it's a lot quirkier. This next one is a perfect example of just how far some of these health trends can go.
Ozempic for your cat? No, I'm not making this up. This was a real headline. With the absolute explosion of weight loss drugs for people, some company is now actually testing a similar thing for our pets. It just shows you how fast these human health crazes can trickle down.
So how does this even work? Well, it's not a daily shot like Ozempic for humans. Instead, it's a microchip that they actually insert right under the pet's skin. And from there, it just slowly releases medication over time to help the cat feel less hungry.
And what's the cost for this futuristic pet wellness plan? The company projects it'll be about $100 a month. Okay, so after that absolute whirlwind of stories, let's take a step back for a second and look at the threads that actually connect all these things that, at first glance, seem totally random.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it tells us a lot about the world we're living in, right? It shows us that celebrity legal fights are basically public entertainment now. A pop song can instantly become a political weapon. A president's health gets put under a microscope by everyone. And a health trend for humans can create a whole new, kind of bizarre market for our pets almost overnight. And it all kind of leaves you with this one big question. In a world where the news moves this fast, and there's just so much noise, how do you, decide what's actually important and what's just part of the show? Definitely something to think about.